Are you sure you hid the body?
I'm positive. There's no way they look more than 6 feet.
The police checked the river. Welcome to Fortnightly News. I'm one of your anchors, Phil Sears.
I'm Chris Cox, and I definitely did not just hide a body.
And I didn't help him at all, whatsoever. So if the cops are listening, forget.
Don't look in Lake Laverne.
Why did you? Oh, God.
I said don't. That means they won't.
Just go on.
Okay, news. Sunday, February 10th, was the start of the most accurately named maritime mishap, Poopship 2013. The Carnival cruise ship, ironically named Triumph, had its engines fail due to a fire. Passengers shared their lengthening trials through social media sites like Instagram, resulting in, quite possibly, the most entertaining display of first world problems in recent history. Here to talk about the ordeal is one of the cruise passengers, David McBadchoice. Now, tell me, David, what exactly happened?
It was terrible. At first, I just played Angry Birds and watched videos of cats while we waited for news. But then my battery died. I couldn't charge it. I couldn't even post worthless ramblings on Facebook or tweet using the hashtag Poopship. Poopship! There was a whale that kept swimming by the entire time, and I didn't even have juice to Instagram it. The worst part was, though, I couldn't correct anybody's grammar in a snarky fashion, hiding behind the internet's anonymity. It was terrible. Terrible.
So sorry. So you went through social media withdrawal?
I did. Luckily, they hooked me up to an IV after they got me off the boat.
Okay, an IV filled with what?
The internet, Chris. The internet.
So they give you a laptop opened up to Reddit?
Yeah, Reddit. I Reddited it pretty hard. I had so much time to think up witty comments. I'm gonna be reaping karma for days. Also, I called like 13 people Hitler on YouTube comments, so I think I got it all out of my system.
Well, I'm glad at least something good came from all this. I think.
Messy stuff. Speaking of messy stuff, have you ever wondered what the demographics for adult film stars are? Well, look no further. John Millward, a guy who studies slightly naughty psychology, has published Deep Inside, a study of 10,000 porn stars and their careers. According to the Huffington Post, Millward has spent the last 6 months examining the profiles of thousands of stars on the Internet Adult Film Database, compiling data about appearance, age, acts, and even choice of stage name. Of course, when he says examine, he means watch. And when he says compiling data, he means, something not so good. Anyway, according to the survey, the most common film star name is Nikki Lee, with the average star a 5'5", 117-pound Caucasian woman with brown hair and a bust size of about... Hey! They're just statistics. Geez, you mentioned porn once, and every picture gets blotted. Hey! My face isn't obscene!
Isn't it, Phil? Isn't it?
No!
Well, with Valentine's Day just behind us, we decided to bring in a student to tell us about how students celebrated the holiday this year. Here to discuss this Valentine's Day is Craig. You look exactly like a guy that was just on Poopship.
Really? Yeah, I heard about Poopship.
He was pretty crappy. So, Craig, how did you spend your Valentine's Day?
Well, I went over to my girlfriend's house, but when I got there, her dog started barking at me, which wasn't a good start to the night. Luckily enough, she assured them no one was there, and then off to the park we went to enjoy the rest of our evening.
Oh, well, what did you do while you were at the park?
Well, she still had the dog, so becoming close was an issue. They started freaking out about something in the bushes, so I just stood still and didn't breathe for a while. And they eventually just lost interest. After that episode, it was time for dinner. I noticed she had a lovely meal prepared. Candles, fancy dishes, the whole getup. I just spent the rest of the evening watching her eat.
Oh, that's cute. Did you do anything else exciting? Did you go for a moonlit walk or see a romantic movie?
No, that was pretty much it. After she got done eating, she opened a glass of wine and sat by the fire and read, and I got down out of the tree and made my way home.
Wait, so you weren't eating with her, you were just out in a tree?
Well, I don't think she would like it very much if I'd broken into her house. It probably would have ruined her date even. And after the restraining order, I don't feel very welcome there.
Wow. Thanks for sharing your story with us, and good luck winning her affection from 500 feet away at all times.
Yeah, it's hard being in a long-distance relationship, but luckily, telephoto lenses are cheap.
The American military is currently in the development stages of a project to build nearly 2,500 F-35 fighter jets at the price of $400 billion, making them the military's most expensive weapon. Besides the usual weapon systems and flight navigation technology, the fighter jets are rumored to be equipped with neon underglow, tinted windows, a jacuzzi, 17 Sony PlayStation game systems, a jet within a jet within a jet within a Predator drone. Lead engineer Exhibit describes the F-35 as his most ambitious project yet.
A recently published UN report claims the developed world should eat less meat in order to allow for more sustainable agricultural practices. The report also reasons the reduction in meat consumed by wealthy countries will allow people in developing ones to have more protein in their diets. In response to the report, some Americans are asking, what's all this tree-hugging hippie nonsense? And what's an environment? Before waddling to their Hummers to drive half a mile to go get a bacon cheeseburger while listening to Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Hornblower Cruise Captain Joe Dutra reported a super megapod of dolphins off the coast of California. The super megapod was over 7 miles long and 5 miles wide, or roughly 35 square miles of dolphins. Yeah, more than 100,000 dolphins were estimated to be in the pod. Now, undoubtedly, the dolphins were probably quite upset about the rush hour as they were missing their favorite game show.
And, what would that be, Phil?
Wheel of Fortune.
Phil, that was a terrible pun. That was bad even for you. Did you do that intentionally?
Yeah, it was completely pun intentional. I did it on purpose. In a shocking and what some experts are calling a stupid move, bloggers, failed screenwriters, and other internet junkies will now decide the winners at the Academy Awards. However, due to a loophole in the voting process, many have decided to cast votes for write-in candidates, while a small sliver has remained faithful to Best Picture nominees such as Lincoln, Argo, and Silver Linings Playbook. A majority of voters have cast their ballots for unheard-of independent films such as Guys Screaming for 10 Hours Part 1, Attack of the Explosions, and My Unedited Colonoscopy Appointment. As for Best Actor and Actress nominations for main and supporting roles, all original nominees have been thrown out. Instead, the nominations all are for Leonardo DiCaprio because, hey, they just want him to win one. You know, just one little Oscar and get it over with. As for other nominations in other categories, most of the voters forgot they existed, making for a pretty short awards ceremony. In related news, experts predict ratings for the upcoming Academy Awards to skyrocket.
Sources have told Kyodo News of Japan that Iranian officials offered to pay tens of millions in US dollars to witness North Korea's most recent nuclear missile test. More frightening than Iran's developing nuclear program, however, is the fact that they seem to completely misunderstand the ticket buying process. Had they not tried to buy seats for the test outside of the venue immediately before the demonstration, they could have purchased the tickets for half the price or less from Craigslist, using those savings to buy nachos during the presentation. Recently, Iowa State has experienced a cornucopia. Cornucopia, that's a good one. A cornucopia of climates. With us to make sense of it all, as well as to give us the forecast, is Skippy Lightning in the middle of Central Campus. Skippy?
Well, thanks, Chris. Today's been a roller coaster of weather. This morning it was freezing. I mean, I slipped 5 times, and that was just indoors. Now the snow and ice is melting, so it's turning into a beautiful day with low wind and warmer temperatures.
Should we expect this weather in the low 40s in the future? Is Iowa State finally warming up, unlike my ex-girlfriend?
Well, as I was walking over here this way because I thought I was done talking, suddenly a blizzard blew up and dumped a good 6 inches of snow. I escaped barely with my life by using the cameraman as a shield. Temperatures are now in the teens, and it's looking like winter still has a good left hook.
Well, what should students do to stay warm and safe out there? Should they bundle up, wear an extra jacket?
No, well, as soon as you said that, an enormous heat wave struck us here in Central Campus and melted all the snow. Now the ground resembles a swampland. Pockets of quicksand have popped up. Oh my! A group of tourists have just sank into the wet ground outside of Jishki, and, well, it's wet and muddy, but I'm glad spring's back.
Now, in the light of such events, do you think it's going to stay spring for very long?
Well, as soon as you said that, a large meteor just struck Central Campus. As you can see behind me, there is nothing left but a giant crater. Hundreds and thousands of people took pictures and video of the meteor as it entered Earth's atmosphere, and now they're all dead because it didn't occur to them that it was a freaking meteor. Many of the bodies here were in the process of uploading their videos to YouTube. Sadly, YouTube took them down, claiming they look too much like videos of the Russian meteor. But every meteor looks the same when everyone's camcorder has a resolution of 10.
How were you able to make it out alive, Skippy?
Well, you're not going to believe this. I was able to persevere by once again using my cameraman as a shield, but unfortunately he did not survive. Luckily, the tripod for my camera did. Now it feels like summer. There's a nice breeze, and the temperature is in the mid-90s. I suggest that nobody comes outside because the air is heavily irradiated. I think this will be my last broadcast.
Well, we're good to hear it's finally warming up out there. Turns out, slapping babies on airplanes, or really anywhere else, will get you fired. Joe Hundley has been charged with simple assault for slapping a 19-month-old toddler for crying on an airplane. Hundley was flying from Minneapolis to Atlanta when the child began crying as the plane descended. After slapping the baby, he also called it, according to an eyewitness, the N-word. That's right, a 60-year-old man called the child the N-word. Now, we here at Fortnightly like to assume the best about people, so we're going to imagine that, instead of the racially charged epithet, Hundley instead meant something else that begins with N. Maybe the child was singing in a high-pitched voice like Justin Timberlake, so he called it in NSYNC. Maybe the child was being whiny and loud like NASCAR fans. Perhaps the child was important or wealthy, so he called it, according to the dictionary, a nabobbery. Possibly even worse than what he already said to the child, Hurdley may have called the toddler a nickelback. In any case, Hurdley has since lost his job and is currently awaiting trial. Just goes to show you, even if you look exactly like Martin Short, you can't just go around slapping kids.
So, what are you going to do now that campus is just a giant smoldering crater?
I was thinking, suntan.
Yeah. That'll work.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll tan, at all. My spots will get darker.
That's true.
I'll become a leopard, hunting, primitive.
You're going to be a leper? I don't think you
No,
should have your own colony.
D, leopard.
Leper with a D.
No.
Is the D silent?
No, you don't.
Like Django.
And that's it for Fortnightly news. We'll see you in a fortnight.
Or more.
Or a fortnight.
Yes.